Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I just got back from Nats, and I brought Evil Boo to the event. So Nats was super fun. I had a great time. A lot of really cool people there. The games were all super close. Everyone was a great sport. Just great to have the whole community in one room. I really enjoyed it. So thank you came out. But yeah, ended up playing this deck. Went 5-2 ultimately. We lost 2 Piccolos in the first 2 rounds, which was very sad. Piccolo's probably our worst matchup. I didn't prep very much for it, so that was kind of expected. But then I clawed my way back, ended up beating a Piccolo in round 3, and then 3 cells consecutively in the starter Frieza to cap off the tournament. So, pretty good run. I wanted to go over the list because I put a lot of effort into it, and also there's some interesting deck cards I want to cover. There is a lot of very standard ratios here, but also some cool stuff that I can show off. So yeah, let's get into the list real quick. First of all, running 4 cantrips, pretty standard. Also running 2 Bibbidi. So this is a pretty low cantrip amount. I've cut some cantrips for just more 10k utility cards in the deck. I think running more combo is good. It does make the deck less consistent, so it's kind of a trade-off, but Boo's already playing consistent, so I'm kind of fine running a few less cantrips. This card, Bibbidi, is a bit controversial. People either hate or love this card. I think it's pretty good. It grabs 10ks out of your deck, which is really nice. So this card is way more likely to get combo than Yamu is, especially when you're going for lethal or when you're trying to like wall up for a defensive turn. It also grabs Buff Boo out of the deck when you need it. This is going to be especially good once Buff Boo is limited, but it's pretty good here just because finding that card when you want to go for lethal is so important. But yeah, I like Bibbidi. I think it's good. Not grabbing Double Striker is kind of sad, but you have 4 of them in the deck, so you're going to find them anyway. Yeah, I like Bibbidi. It's good. Next, we're running 6 of the Arresters. Not much to say here. There's the Arresters. Only running 6, not 8, because we have, again, just utility 10ks I wanted to run. You could probably go up to 8. There is one card I really think I should have cut for more Arresters, but I'll go over that later in the profile. Running 3 Bibbidi. So I heard from my friends people were cutting this card in Nats. Not the top Boo, but some of the Boos in like the lower brackets or the lower tables were cutting Bobbidi. I think that's crazy. Bobbidi is really, really good. In the Cell matchup especially, just being able to blank out swing every turn against Cell is so crucial. But this card's good. I would honestly go to 4 probably in hindsight, just because there were so many games where I really needed this Bobbidi and I didn't see it. But I think this card is very good. Restands your guys. Great into Cell and Piccolo matchup. Really, really bad into Boo. Obviously, you just charge us against Boo and like blue decks or whatever, but also just a great card in the Rogue. I mean, there's just so many good matchups for this card. I feel like it is definitely worth including in the deck. It is very hit or miss though. You know, if you're playing against yellow or blue, it's bad. Anything else is probably gonna carry the game for you. But yeah, that's Bobbidi. Running 3 copies of Majin Buu Good. This card is just solid. Self-Awakener, 10k. Freezes a guy if you need it. Just very good utility. A lot of 10ks in this deck are admittedly pretty niche. I think that's just kind of how it is for 10k in yellow, but this is definitely one of the better ones. Self-Awakening is always good. You can't get starved in the Boo mirror. Also just freezes. Very good against Sin, where you need all the freeze you can get for their 5 drops. But yeah, this card is super good. And you can play off Double Striker if you need to awaken. I've done it sometimes. It isn't the best play in the world, but it gets you there if you need to get the freeze off. Next, we're playing 3 of the Crit Boo. This card is just an amazing card into Rogue, and that's why I love it so much. I feel like as long as you have this card in your deck, you can't lose to any of the Weenie Rush decks in the format, like Bulma or Namaku. You just stick one of these with a Bobbidi, and if they ever swing 25 or higher, you turn skip them. It is a very hit or miss card though. I mean, obviously you're playing against Blue, for example, you're never gonna want to play this, you're gonna want to charge it constantly. It is a 0 also, which is pretty steep. But I think this card is so good into Rogue and into certain matchups that I think it's definitely worth playing. Also just as like a sticky guy, right? Your opponent can really never deal with this unless they didn't want you to float into a 4-drop for free. This card can also grab back Buff Boo, which is pretty cool. You can like swing with this, then pop it, get the Buff Boo back, pop something else, restand it, swing 30. It's not bad. This card has a lot of utility in the deck. Then of course we're playing these 4 and this guy. These cards are bullshit, but you know, we're running them. They're good. 3 copies of my boy Janemba. So I think this is really where it starts to deviate from the typical Boo list. Janemba is crazy in this deck though. I think just having Self-Awakeners is generally good in Boo, so you can freeze on the turn you need to. But this card also just provides so much value, especially into Cell specifically, right? You play this, rest their 18, play another freezer from your hand, or play another arrester from your hand, rest a second 18, and then you can just swing, remove the entire board. Also very good for dealing with the cell cheese. They try and go for the 4-drop on you ahead of curve. You can play this, swing into it, and then swing with lead, combo up, and now you've ripped 2 cards from opponent's hand. Even though they are getting the sell out early, they're now way behind in card advantage. I think this card is just super, super solid for those reasons. A lot of people in this event were running the Piccolo Boo instead. I think that card is pretty mid. That card is good in the Sin, admittedly, because you can pop their Vegeta on curve. But I think this card is better into pretty much everything else. I think it's just a really strong value play. Being a 25k, like it's kind of annoying for people to deal with this, especially like Cell. They have to self-destruct this pretty much to deal with it. So you're either forcing them to waste their turn removing a 25k vanilla, or you just get to keep free tempo on the field. Also very good into the Boo Mirror because you can rest their Buhan, swing into it, and swing with the leader again, comboing up. So a very good card in a lot of different matchups. That is a bit weaker into Sin than Piccolo Boo, but I think it's definitely worth it for the utility it brings. And we are playing 3 copies of Buff Boo. So some lists are running 4, some are running like 2. I think 3 is correct. It's just a card I want to see at least one of. Usually our lethal lines in this deck are either double striker into 3-drop or 2 3-drops. So either way, you're gonna get there because you have 3 of these. And it's searchable off Bibity, right? So finding this is pretty easy. But yeah, obviously this card's crazy. Getting limited soon, unfortunately, but probably good for the health of the game. 2 Freeze Coup. I don't know why people aren't playing this card in this deck. I think this card is actually ridiculous. What's really good about this card is it is amazing into the Boo Mirror, right? Because if you have a field established already, you can play this, freeze as their double strikers, their 4-drops, whatever, and then swing into them. And now you've just basically gained an entire turn of tempo just by playing this guy in your deck. I think he's super strong. I don't think he's decent in the Piccolo in certain situations, just being able to freeze their entire board and keep pressuring lead. It is definitely situational, but it is a 10k, right? So no matter what, you're going to be getting value if you're comboing it. I think Freeze Coup is super underrated in this format. And granted, it's not good in the Cell, right? You're just going to charge this or combo it into Cell. But I think just for the fact that this card wins you the Boo Mirror alone, I think you need to play it. I'm running 2 copies of the new Majin Buu Evil. This card is terrible. It read really good. Like when I saw this card, I thought it was going to be crazy for the deck, but this did not come up once in Nats. Not only did it not come up once, I didn't ever like want to play this one time in Nats. There wasn't a single situation where I was like, yeah, this card would be good here. It kind of sucks. I guess just the format. There's not really many good 3-drops you want to pressure, right? I guess there's Buhan, but if you're playing this in turn 4 instead of this guy, you're probably throwing, right? It just feels bad. So I don't know. I think this guy is pretty mid. I think he'll probably see play post-ban list still because it's just another Boo name that has utility and it's 10k. But I don't know. I'd probably cut this for more resters in the future. But who knows? Maybe in a different format this will perform better. But I just didn't see much value off of it in this tournament. Playing 2 of Majin Buu Evil. So if you haven't read this card's pretty crazy. It's kind of mid, but you put it in drop, and then it places in drop an opponent's card 5 or less. So this is here really to deal with bullshit your opponent's playing. I really didn't want to get sacked by like a Jiren or that 0 combo 5-cost Cell. So I played this as a utility 10k that can deal with those threats for me if I need to. Also floats into a Majin Buu Evil, so it floats into that 4-drop I just showed you earlier, and also the Buhan. But yeah, this card's fine. It actually performed really well in Nats. There was a Cell game that I won off the back of this card by being able to out that 5-drop. Also, there's a lot of cards in the format that have on KO triggers, right? So you can play this against the if you already have a board presence, obviously, you can play this to deal with your opponent's double striker if they're playing Boo or their 4-drop, or you can just use it to clear the Cell 5-drop if you want to as well. But yeah, obviously it's a bit slow, but there are situations where you really need this, and there are cards that you cannot out or deal with without this card. So I think it is definitely worth playing as a 2 of in this deck. And also just put in work. It won me a game against L, so I'm very happy with the card's performance. Also playing the 1 copy of Golden Frieza. This card is a pretty cool little tech for the deck. So you can play this against, the real reason you play this card is against Piccolo, right? So you build your board, right? they go Beast Han, and then on your turn 6, you can play this, kill their Beast Han, and now they have no redirect. You can just swing face with everything. So this card is basically just a win condition against Piccolo in that regard. I think this card's very good though. I'm also really funny in the Sin, because while this card's on the field against Sin, not only can they not remove it, it also means that both of their 5-drops come unrested. So they literally cannot pressure you, and you can just keep freezing their 5-drops every turn. I played against a Sin in one game, and literally I'd stick this, and every turn I'd play a freeze coup, freeze their 5-drop, pass. Then next turn, swing with the freeze coup, play another one, freeze both their 5-drops, pass, and they can't do anything. They can't pressure lead because this guy's on the field. It's super funny. I think this card's actually really good in this format. It's obviously a bit of a brick though, right? It's not very good into Cell, so we can't run too many of it, but it is a good card, and it definitely came up in the tournament for sure. Also great in the Boom Mirror, because you can pop their 5-drop, and now they can't play more of them, or they can, but they'll come unrested. Good card. And finally, for the super combos to round out the deck list. That is Evil Boo. This is probably the last hurrah for this deck. I imagine that at post-ban list, this will not be playable anymore. But who knows? I mean, we're getting some new yellow cards, so we'll see. But yeah, that's my deck list I brought to Nats. I'm very happy with deck's performance. I think if I hadn't seen more Piglets, I might have been able to make a top cut, but I am still happy with how I performed. But yeah, if you were at Nats and you saw me, let me know. Let me know how you did, if you pulled to the event and what you brought. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all in the next video. And rip Boo. Peace.